side of me. That is how I does maintain my family. Think it over, think it again. Mr. Chuck, just think it over, think it again. They're trying to tell people I cannot sing calypso. It's only boom boom and do the IWER, I know. But I's the man who sing times hard, let us work harder. 2 months later the bank come to take my car. To be a Kaisonian you have to make fast money. Money for vitamins, you have to eat healthy. You have to drive good car, not no jalopy. You can't come in town looking hungry, hungry, hungry. You have to remember you is a role model. And anywhere you go, people will look up to you. That kind of lyrics, shorty, I them want me to sing. Like they want to see me eating from the dustbin. Think it over, think it again. Mr. Shorty, think it over, think it again. Hail Selassie, think it over, think it again. Cause everybody know IWER could sing Kaiso, the party side of me. That is how I just get work in Miami. Think it over, think it again. Think it over, think it, I say. Think it again. Pling, 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 pling. I hear my telephone ring. When I say hello, it's Pelham Goddard calling. He say, IWER, I'm looking for a shorty. Last year he record, he has some money for me. I hear a beep when I say hello, it's Kenny. Songing like if he have a pain in his belly. He and all want a number for the ras. Cause he find he playing up in the ras. All them songs this man sing to bad talk me. He never paid the studio no money. I don't know why he don't trim that hair on his head and brush his teeth and pee and go in his bed. Think it over, think it again. Think it over, think it again. IWER George. It's over. Think it again. IWER. Think it over. Think it again. Listen, it's about a Kaisonian who talk to and all. I want to hear the stories. Are you ready to hear the stories? Let me go. Think it over. Think it again. Come in. I know all them Calypsonians listening, and everybody just shoo-shooing, shoo-shooing. They're listening to see if I put their name in my song, because it have other Kaisonians who fight me down. It have one working in the cultural ministry. Every song he sing is the same melody. He gets some doctorate quite up in Michigan, trying to say I giving Kaiso bad injection. But when I hear he say merchant strip Kaiso heart, and Winston Stevens just tear Kaiso apart. Look, Chuck, just let me tell you something, and it know this. You need to see a musical psychiatrist. Think it over, think it again. Think it over, think it again. IWER George, ladies and gentlemen. Huh? Think it again. IWER. Think it over. It are more people in. All ready for them? Are you ready? Carnival Sunday night, I went to the Marsh Grass show. The back in bread I'm having, I back in crow. When I hear Tiger is that this in this point boy name, I say like this big fat woman ain't had no shame. I could remember the last time she made money. She and she sisters was riding a donkey. So don't try to make people feel IWER is a fraud when you worship my music like if it's your God. I know things hard and you want to eat. Everybody want to look nice in the street. Tell Tigeress if she want to make her comeback, don't try to take no ride on IWER George back. Think it over, think it again. Think it over, think it again. Think it over, think it again. Come back, IWER. I say come back again. Back to this story around Shorty. Are you ready for it? Shorty I is a spiritual fella. Everybody know the man reading the script here. I don't know what books he reading in Peparo, but if it's the Bible, he's supposed to know. Jaja say leave all judgment up to he. He take it on his own and started to judge me. I don't care if he tell people IWER is a loss. I know no bank coming back to take me home. It's over. Take it again. Take it over. Take it again. Take it over. Take it again. IWER Church, come back IWER. One more time, think it over, think it again. They're trying to tell people all I just sing is crap, but I know everybody here know better than that. This year I say, control your property. What more advice they want from a man like me? Truck just trying hard to convince I that people could party to Dubai, Dubai, Dubai. Look, Truck just man, I'm telling you for the last time, go home and let your wife teach him how to wine. It's over. Take it again. Take it over. Take it again.
It's a beautiful, beautiful day. It's the first Friday in 2025. I want to say good afternoon and welcome to all of you all that is locked on and listening with us wherever you are at. I want to say good afternoon to all of you. First Friday in the year of 2025. Let me just make sure and plug up the right way. I want to be able to hear you all as we start the first Friday in the year. So, of course, blessed good afternoon going on to each and every one of you all. Those of you all who are, I don't know if I deaf in one ear or I wonder if it's me or if it's this. Yeah, it was this. Right, good. So, first Friday in the year 2025. Angela Lacroix, good afternoon to you. Maria Lyons, good afternoon as well. And all of you that are locked on and listening with us. Wherever you are listening, blessed and great day to you. I'm going to open the lines today and I'm going to leave it free for all this afternoon. Yeah? So 342-008 14665-391. Those are the numbers to call. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome.
Yes, my brother. I just saying hello, let you know I didn't call her. The most I didn't call her in your program actually onto the station.
One
time I cut off this station, then after you don't talk, I wipe out there until about 8 o'clock in night time and something is going on. And I want to say to everybody listening to the station, Mommy Sauce and everybody, I hope all of you have a happy new year and may the bluebird sing in every 3 year past, the bluebird will sing for you. And my brother, take it like that. Mr. I want just thank you for the door you have given us to let us let go of feelings and let go of views and everything that we want to see. And I want to say to this year to people, when you come into the station, come with facts. Do not come to try to fool people and spread barriers on this station. This is the number one station. And there's a lot of people who have no, I'll use the word again, that I'm going to put, no sense of etymology, come on the station and talk a pile of nonsense, come with sense when you come into the station. My brother, I want to say love to you and to everybody who listen to the station, Mr. Napuna, everybody. And I say have a good one. So listen to my brother. Take care.
Caller, good afternoon. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Dr. Dale.
Yeah, we're going
I
on.
wish you more life, health, and strength for 2025.
I really say I ain't hear from you yesterday,
you
no?
know. And favor. Now, but yesterday you run the program in your own way. You talk and it's no open like to take your calls. Mr. Manu, we will miss say, we lock up the really fast going up board for sponsors there. Like new sponsors coming on board, but different talk shows coming in just now. That he talk at the ground right now. Them different talk shows bringing sponsors.
Does he talk on the ground?
Yeah, that's why the radio station for years, and then they bring in those sponsors. They've been getting sponsors from the PNM government who they supported it. They've been seeing an ad from the PNM election coming. Can you ad right now?
Yeah, might see ads,
right
but
now,
I don't know if it is to go pay for it.
But right now we're not political there, so I just keeping the fire blazing. We see us on that stage of emergency. I know the Prime Minister coming later on.
And that's
so
going to be.
Locked on, listen, my brother. And all the blessed to the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the haters and them. They're not coming from me, they're coming from God. So I locked on, listening, love.
Yeah, man. Talk on the ground, boy. Somebody sent me a screenshot there. It's some talk on the ground. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Happy New Year.
Same to you.
A while ago, Pastor, I heard King before that statement. Did you see, and I wonder if I spoke to you, did you see the former national footballer that was arrested somewhere in Binghamton?
Yeah, got hold with firearms and ammunition.
I wonder where Kings is. Said he was trying one gun. I don't think it was one gun by that man. So when they come to talk the rubbish, and you know, you also played that clip with this lady who's a supporter. I can't remember her name. But she's echoing the sentiments that not even the chief whip, but he can't go because he on $1.3 million bail and he was calling for Mali all the time. How we appear as a man on bail? Because it's bad. But she is echoing the same sentiments that Gary Aboud echoed last week about the opposition leader creating a division in the society with the views that the man who is 1%, he had the voice and the color, but he don't have the money. Philip. And was using Philip to voice her views. We get the same thing from the non-appearance of the opposition in the funeral of that MP from Arima. Don't you think so? When she said, let the fire burn all who there or wherever. So that statement justified this action. And I still have people like Kingsley and them coming to talk that rubbish. And then I go out dumb and defecation and diaper coming to talk that same rubbish. When are we going to see or admit to ourselves that we have a group of people who don't care about our society and only care about the group of people that presently is before the court? After 20-something years, then come with Section 34 to try to free a group of people. What would they do now that I'm a former Attorney General, a chief whip, not a businessman, you know? And what they will do now, if I give them the opportunity again? They'll enjoy. Happy New Year. I hope Trinidadians wake up and understand what we're in for. Are we dropping our, what Robinson said to us, spiritual and moral and spiritual values? They tell me they was thieving, but I was getting something, so I dropped my standard to get fired when they wanted 50 million.
Well, you never know, they might give everybody a fresh slate, so if you commit sin, they will give you a fresh slate, and you will be with...
To start all over to continue the same thing that he was doing. Because you know what, I heard the rice man with the bicycle who was the Minister of Agriculture, he didn't buy a Prado, he bought a Porsche, a Cayenne, telling me that the opposition leader reached out to him. So that means she has some change. But if she didn't pick Anna Roberts, to run for a seat. That don't mean she can't make him a senator. I mightn't have him running for a seat, but I could still have him in my parliament. So what he come to tell me there about the opposition leaders seem to show some change. All of that was wiped out the window yesterday. Again, hypocrites. Like the same man Vassambarat come to tell me all kind of thing about she, and coming back to tell me about she change, and she putting up a new slate. But I had to be really a mook. I had to be a mook, son, in 2025 to have a group of people who have matters before the court, highest budget ever in Trinidad and Tobago, and money that they didn't earn, money that they inherited from a previous PNM administration, 16 billion in the treasury, 13 billion in NGC, and they spent all to tell me about the Lady Heritage and Stabilization Fund that they take a loan to put money on. Well, you can't speak now, son. All the best for the new year. Citizens, all wake up, please. Enjoy your day, brother. Be safe.
34200814665 Just watching, really just watching today. I'm watching and I'm listening to. Let's see what's happening here. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome. Caller, good afternoon. Just watching. Caller, good afternoon. Right. It's a sad thing, Caller, good afternoon. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Dale Lewis.
Good afternoon.
All the best for 25.
Same to you.
Dale, don't go. I don't want people shouldn't go hard on the opposition leader. She tell me it's party before country, and they under the up and jab system, race, outweigh race. So if you have ancestors' name like Barrett, they attend your funeral. But if you have slave master name like they own the Koto, they then go to funeral. Agone.
Tell you the gates are open, I know some people were saying Dale and they were bringing their sentiments and talking about the non-attendance of their parliamentarian colleague. I don't know. I'm trying to be a little thing today. I don't want to go too hard today. I try not to go too hard today because right now I'm what's in the back of my mind is the well-being of 91.9 and its longevity and endurance for 2025. Because the station is important to you as much as it is important to all of us who sit behind these chairs, behind this mic, It's important. So when it reaches to a point or a state where it is, you have to now be worried about the well-being of the station for its endurance, and for it to remain relevant. All the other topics are real nice. Everything is really nice to talk about, but then would next month would 91.9 be the same? That's the question. Yeah. Anyhow, I don't feel like for me now is the time for me to discuss that. Let me play this video. I feel like Marsha, I don't know. Marsha have a issue or I'm really not understanding, because why would you be a part of a party that you're against majority of the things that they're doing, but then you still want to be a part of the party? Is it that you're just there because nobody else wants you? Or I'm going to play this video and I want you all to help me to understand.
The Parliament Protocol Officer was in charge of invitations for Lisa Morris Julian's funeral. I confirmed that the opposition leader and all opposition MPs were in fact on the protocol list. The chief whip, for the very least, who is the head of the opposition bench in Parliament, should have attended. Why do I think that this is something to bring up at a time like this? It's simple. Our country is right now filled with hate and division. The opposition leader would have had a perfect opportunity to show our young people and our country at large what putting party politics aside ought to look like, what compassionate leadership ought to look like. Instead, what we have is the enabling of pettiness. That's what we have today. When the opposition leader and the opposition bench can absent themselves in the face of this tragedy, it sends a very loud signal. I must make mention of MP Rai Ragbir and MP Rushton Parry, who did find the time to show up, because they did not just show up for the young lady who lost her siblings and her mother and had to do not one eulogy but 3. They showed up for a nation to show what mature politics ought to look like. I am utterly disgusted, but no longer disappointed in the behavior of the opposition leader and those that follow her. Our politicians must do better. They must set a better example of what unified, non-partisan politics can look like for the betterment of country. Country before party. We must demand better.
I would send that video yesterday. And one of the things that came to my mind is, why is it that politics is becoming so dirty? Caller, good afternoon, welcome.
So I go back, good afternoon. I will go back to Fisherman and Sea of the Friends. Gary Aboud said to us about a week ago what is going on in the UNC that is creating this division. And you asked the right question. Why would I stay in the party? So I'm asking Vasan Bara the same question you just asked Marsha Walker. If you all know all of that about the party, why are you all staying there? They come out there telling me again, son, they was thieving, but I was getting something. Yes, we know there was corruption, but they were a better government. How? That's the standard moral and spiritual values we are dropping for Trumpism. Because I believe I could stay down home and get a check and sign. So we want to continue the trend at 2010 to 2015. And telling me that the black man ain't do nothing for me. So what did they do for the African population between 2010 to 2015? Where the man under the pavement come to sing, I don't know, in Trinidad and Tobago, did they do statistics on Africans and Indians who poor? I know they do statistics on poverty. So when the man under the pavement come to tell me that black people more poor under this administration, so then how the Indians getting it, boy, son? Eh? So black people telling black people, singing racism to we, and telling me because I vote for the PNI racist. I have to be a clown. Eh? Will you wake up, please? In 2008, there was a worldwide recession. Under Mr. Manning, we didn't feel that. No. There are people around the world, countries around the world, still trying to survive 2008. There are people still, countries around the world, still coming out of the pandemic. Food prices, daily, you see how much people in America on the street. Nearly the population of Trinidad and Tobago, 1.8 million people, are homeless in America, living in the car, living on the road. Because of the cost of food. You remember they tell us the reason why the food prices went up is because of the ship that swing in the Panama Canal. Just like them who walk in taxi tell me after the pandemic the taxi fare will go up, but when they get back the full capacity, the fare will go down. Did that happen? Did the food price go down? So if the food price ain't go down, the taxi price ain't go down, what will happen? Let me wake up now, please. Don't enjoy your day.
Caller, good afternoon, welcome. Good afternoon, caller.
Yeah, man. Masha Walker from the Galbar and Singh family. You know the name is Ish. Well, she don't Ish. And I said, no, don't take on what she know, what she have a kind of sense that I don't know. And he says a professor. To be a professor, he must pass doctorate and all kind of things. Which part he was a doctor? He could tell anybody and nobody. He had no paper. He never sent a paper. He fooling all who listen to him. People like the one who call and talk about body sponsorship. He can't sponsor nothing. You can say sponsor every time you call for something. He can't call at all. He can't call at all. So don't tell me not about if I could pay anytime I call. I said just pay. Once every time I call, I will be the only caller calling. Because people will not call because some of them who work on chicken from my chicken place. I want to say KFC, but it's the same thing. You can't pay for a call at all. You understand? So don't try to put me inside your category. I'm far away from you, Mr. Man.
All right.
Only don't take on what at all. And Masha Walker is from the Iskal Branting family of Dotish. Agon.
Caller, good afternoon, welcome.
Let me say, you hear the voice?
Good afternoon, Kingsley.
I want to say good afternoon to your listeners at this time from 2 to 4. And I want to say the number will now call me, the number in the hands of the right authority. And I send that number, shoot in the videos, and next week I'm going to expose it. Next week I'm going to expose why you call me. So when I speak independent. We don't speak on no side. Okay? If you have your agenda, you keep it for yourself. I'm an activist in this country here. Okay? I represent. Let me tell you this. I live in my community here. And I was robbed going across the market on the old St. Joseph Road, right? And that time I was Rasta and Muslim, right? Time Silat is Rasta, Tongpon Street is Rasta, all over the was Rasta. It was a white Muslim, right? And I get robbed. Me and my girlfriend got robbed when I was going home, right? When deceased, Abu Bakr heard that. He said, "Oh, you're mad? Oh, you're up Kingsley? Kingsley does defend all you." And I was on the other side, And by half an hour, I get back everything. Because the deceased, my God, bless survivor, one of the baddest man in this country who police, politician, and everybody respect, said, how all corrupt Kingsley Kingsley just defend Lavantel. Kingsley just defend Silat. Become Duncan shit, Mangoros, no shit. I just defend that. I just call the government to help Olio to remove the stigma from Olio. I want to say this again. The number who called me in the police hands and in certain hyper-5 people hands. Because, and I know, yeah, that's what I will say for now. The voice is what have bad tire on this program this hour today. Is embarrass the bias. Because about some minutes ago, I called on Pastor Google program and I tell them that the SOE failed. We can see how long the SOE was for, or how long she going on for. I said about 2 weeks or going on 2 weeks. Other things, that's all he could find. But I spent 7 minutes on the phone. All he could find that things say the curfew is 2 weeks. That's all he could point for, because you know why? He couldn't debate me. When I said that the police tell this country 75 roadblock and 35 house search and they get 1 gun. It failed. It failed. And what some certain individuals who in the underworld who they know that the feds, the police, hasn't said, well, God is my witness. Well, they're working with them and then working with them. So how can we come in here now and talking? People getting things. But I will say it again. The police in Trinidad and Tobago need to be investigated. Because as I said earlier on, there's 6 and 7. I didn't point one side out. So the behavior of someone we living in the ghetto, we hungry, we poor, we broken, and we want to kill we brother, we want to kill we sister. And some of us holding up that. Some of us not even you know. But some of us holding up because why? We from our side, so we choose a side. We choose the side we from. We go support that. I cannot support that. Because when they ask me things the ways and my age, I don't know nothing but no numbers. I don't live with that. Because I said 7 cannot live without 6, and 6 cannot live without 7. Because 7 no 6, and 6 no 7. 7 and 6 went to school together. 7 and 6 play football together. 7 and 6 party together. 7 and 6 know each other. I am not here to take side, you know. I am just here to be honest, to fight for country, and to make sure that our community get beneficial. Because I was one of the frontline talker when the UNC was in power, and when the UNC called SOE, I was one of the frontline begging for people on the bottom to let them go, begging for people on the see that don't push to let them go. Simple shit, Lavante. I was there. I was on the front line begging for that. I was down there by the parliament marching, saying that Anolam Logan must go, Chakwana must go, Kamala must go. I was there. Now I know I'm independent. If I see something wrong, I'm going to say something wrong. I do not follow my to do evil. So don't ever, and whoever want to get my number out, so people will call me. I know all the because my phone have an app on it. We could tell me where you're calling from and who calling me. So the SOE failed. That is why this evening here that the Prime Minister is coming to do surgery. He's coming to do surgery because the SOE failed, as they say, in 5 days. It failed in 5 days. It was flat. Because in the last fight, they all the companies come and tell us we make more money on the roadblock. 75 roadblock in 5 days. I mean, 35 houses in 5 days. So you understand why Bartara had to call him 3 and 4 times yesterday, no? Because he has to defend the failing SOE that the Prime Minister called at Trinidad and Tobago. They're the voice. I thank you very much.
Thank you. I know checking to see, but like we now know no broadcast of the media briefing today. Caller, good afternoon, welcome.
Good afternoon, Dale.
Good afternoon.
Dale, I'm convinced. I don't want to answer feedback for the moment. Anyhow, Dale?
Yeah, with you.
Hello? Yeah. Dale, I'm convinced now that this fella have a vocabulary problem because you now see, when you start your contribution, that it's 2 weeks yesterday, so it's 2 weeks old and I fail. Now it's 5 days old and I fail. And 75 roadblock and the guy one gun. Where they and there's fact where you're lying Kingsley. Because there were after your contribution on that said show, there were videos where there was the show that more than one gun was recovered in different places, Kingsley. So stop coming on the radio to lie. I don't know where you're getting Peter lie, sir. You like to hear yourself on the road that they're talking? Because you're lying. Because first begin, when you start your contribution is, yes, so you feel, and so he's 2 weeks old. Now, so he's 5 years old, and I feel. How could you judge something fail when you have no results? It's just a couple of days old. How do you know you feel? They listen to an exam. Would you know you fail the exam halfway through? Or when you're not studying the exam, would you know you fail? If you fail the exam, or you know when you complete the exam and you get the exam?
When it's over.
So I convinced this young man have mental issues and he have vocabulary issues, he have understanding issues. He cannot tell me he's not saying. Because he makes no sense. Because you can't call and say first it's failing, and then before you go, it's failing in 5 days. And you were caught lying because you say 75 roadblocks. Once a house breaking and the guy one gun and it was shown on video on text that more than one farm was recovered in numerous places. So why I don't know where you get paid, right? On the other hand, government, I mean, you know what to conclude because then they're getting paid to come and push our agenda. On the other hand, you see people like Marshall Walker, all of them, Vashaman, all of them see them. I don't get any citizens because if I election call in the morning, they are all going to close ranks. You understand that?
Mm-hmm.
I have no Marshall Walker, Vasandat, all of them come and talk the NC bar and so on. If I election call in the morning, every UNC is going to close ranks and kiss come foot in the morning. Regardless of what they're saying now. So I don't tell them. And there's a narrative going on because I was had to clear this narrative where they're saying PNM people that does vote race. They don't answer something.
That what? Sorry, PNM what?
PNM people does vote race. This narrative where they're saying PNM people does vote race. I want to ask you a question. Super ever change hands? Super ever change hands deal? Hello?
If what change hands, sorry?
Sapphire ever change hands? That constituency? Sapphire?
No, not to my knowledge.
Princess ever change hands?
I think everybody does vote race, you know. Well, I wouldn't say everybody. I wouldn't say everybody, but there's a percentage of the population that votes race.
I could call a certain constituency that never change hands. Carolina Central never change hands. Kuwait and South never change hands. Princess never change hands. Never change hands. Old East and West never change hands. Now, I could go on and deal with the ethnic background and build up of most residents who live in those areas. Do you look at me and you? No. So like this, so let's stop talking and say no. But that's what it is, because as you say, 99.9% of the country to do the job. And last I checked, 2010, for the partnership state again, a lot of black people didn't vote PNM. So this not the same thing that only vote is. In my humble opinion, is BS. Total BS.
But I think that the government needs to look out for the people a little bit more. I'll be very honest to say that. The government needs to look out for the people more.
I would not dispute the fact. Every country and every time, anywhere you go there, somebody will always need help. Doesn't matter how much money you pour in a community, somebody will always need help.
But you see, the people who help in here, you have to help them too. It can't be it can't be a one-way street. And I mean, we are now in the lion's den of this very sad fact. You know, it's sad. It's sad.
I am not shocked in any way. I just clear up certain narrative.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, and I respect that.
I have to bring forward a total paid liar. You spend all the time show the star narrative and a total lie. Anyhow, deal. I'm not confession because I know they'll come from it.
Yeah. Well, you know, this might be the lanyap of opportunities again, that somebody may get the opportunity to do something like this. Because here I want to tell you, and I don't know, today I feel so triggered because there are a lot of things that are happening, and we love this radio station so bad. We're able to come and freely express ourselves. We're able to come and talk about all different types of things that is happening in and around us in our constituency, voice concerns that of issues that are happening. I've seen people call and say, I ain't had no water, I ain't had no lights, and boom, they get through. I've seen on this very said radio station how powerful it is that persons in need have gotten help through the coming together of persons on this radio station. And there are a lot of people that still hell-bent on destroying the radio station, either by calling and saying certain things. Some people do know what they have to do. And I'm telling you all this is big and bold, that today, the only way that this radio station is going to survive is by your support. We've sponsored talk for a long time. Everybody been talking, rah, 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 rah. Everybody been able to call the numbers relentlessly and get through and speak their mind. Speak about who they like and who they don't like and everything and whatever the case may be. But if we have no action behind it, in a very, very flash, flick of a finger moment, what we have here that we also love so dearly will be gone. We're living in a time that is ever so present and is ever revolving. Yesterday we get greeted with this. We get greeted with a nice little letter. Today I saw somebody, it came back to me today, and I saw the caption underneath it, and I laugh a little bit because it was a little hilarious. Where they say because of a certain show, they put in the caption because of a certain show that the radio station taking where they're going into the direction. You mean go come here and sit down and pretend and lie and this one shoo in and that one shoo in. This is the case here. That's what it is. And what it is that the station need advertisers. If the station have no advertisers, there is no station, because advertising revenue pays the bills. The bills that are paid just to have running lights, electricity, water, security, to pay for the security downstairs, to keep us safe, to keep us comfortable, that we can get money to put gas in our cars and eat and feed our families as the revenue. Without any of that, the station would fall. Everybody hearing all the shoo-shoo, all the talk, and that's why I say the government don't even take care of their own people. And I'll leave it there, because some people go run out of the self and they'll go in a certain direction that I'm not really in the mood to go. But I know what I'm saying when I'm saying they don't take care of their own people. And this is why I like the fact that I need a PNM or UNC or PEP or PDP or COP or TOP or any of the parties. Because when push comes to shove, I had to go out there and do it regardless. So I'm going to pay some bills because I've seen my thing blinking here. I have some callers on the line, but I can't do them that wickedness because it's less than a minute. Right? Maybe I might share the letter with you all when I come back. Maybe. Just so that, you know, everybody understands. It's not no secret thing. I don't mind coming and telling all the way they tell you. And if the boss and them get vexed after, at the end of the day, I being honest with all they will call this radio station and talk all the tata and talk all kind of thing and whatever. And, oh, we love it, and thanks IWER for giving you the doors and opening and this, that, and the other. And the station suffering because why? No advertisement. No income generating. And then, God forbid, if we die the death, here what we go say, hey boy, it was a real good one, you know. But what went on? And we did nothing as a unit, as a team, as the people we love to keep it running. We'll be back after the break. I feel like I'm going to give some little snippets of the press conference as well with the Prime Minister, so keep it locked, don't go anywhere.
Attention business owners. Are you looking to reach a vast audience and boost your brand's visibility? Then look no further. The Street 919 FM is here to help you shine. With over 170,000 followers on our social media platforms, our radio station is the perfect platform to showcase your products and services. Join us and let your message be heard by thousands of eager listeners. Contact us now to learn more about our affordable advertising packages. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to connect with your target audience. Advertise with the Street 919 FM today. For more information, call 399-5959, 384-2232 or 378-1470.
You've got bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the Street 919 FM. Are you searching for the perfect venue for your wedding reception, company retreat, graduation celebration, or just an unforgettable party? Well, look no further. Vibes Event Space is ready to bring your event to life. Located at number 15 Mount Pleasant Boulevard, Bonaccord, Tobago. Our space offers the perfect settings for any occasion. Call us today at 394-3612 or 620-3057 to book your date. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Vibes Event Space to see what we're all about. Make your next event one to remember at Vibes the Event Space. The Event Space.
Planning your Tobago getaway? Choose the highest Google-rated car rental company on the island, O'Neill Auto Rentals Tobago. Located just minutes from the A&R Robinson International Airport, at O'Neill, we pride ourselves on being the most tech-savvy car rental company in Tobago. Our process is 100% digital. No paperwork, no long lines. From easy pickup to seamless returns, renting a car in Tobago has never been simpler. WhatsApp us now at 1-868-361-1042 to book your vehicle. Don't forget to mention promo code RADIO2 to receive a 5% discount on your rental. Send a WhatsApp message to 1-868-361-1042 today. That's 1-868-361-1042. O'Neill Auto Rentals Tobago, the easiest, most reliable car rental experience on the island.
Vehicle availability is subject to change. Driver must be at least 25 years old and have a valid driver's license to book. For more information, visit www.rentalcartobago.com.
The Street 919 FM mobile app is now live. Keep in the loop with all your favorite programs. Be in the know first and carry us wherever you go. Listen and watch us live at the click of your fingertips. Download our mobile app now. Go in your favorite app store, whether it be Android or Apple, and type in The Street 919 FM.
Oh God, call on the Lord. Call on Him. Pour on us, God. Oh God, as we pray. Oh Lord.
You are invited to join Pastor Morris Johnson of the Church of the Firstborn Assembly Miracle Center, located at 399 Eastern Main Road, Guayco in Sangre Grande, for the Old Time Gospel Hour all-night prayer every Friday evening, 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. Designed with you in mind, this ministry deals with today's issues from a biblical perspective. You will be given the opportunity to call in and interact with us. Micah 6:8 says, He hath showed thee, O man, what is good and what doth the Lord require of thee, but to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy God. Your free will gifts and offerings will be greatly appreciated and can be sent through the First Citizens Bank, account 795-222, in the name of the Church of the Firstborn Assembly. For more information, please call 753-1113. May God richly bless you.
The light of your glory.
When I come back,
Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
Your voice, good evening. It is plain to see the sentiments of these people is to divide and divide and divide, but we won't have it because all of us are Trinidadians, and in the words of the anthem, every creed and every race have to find an equal place, right? So it is clear to see that these people, they're just on foolishness, right? The very fact that shows, right, that the deputy political leader of the UNC and others within the party are before the courts on fraud, corruption, larceny, and other such like. The facts are there to show. The facts are there to show. Each one of them had their own matter in front there. A number of them. Are we to trust these people with the resources that are to come after what has taken place between 2010 to 2015? Come on now. Are we in the twilight zone? I hope not, you know. I hope not, Dale. I hope not. Anyway, locked on and listening. There was never about country, only for party.
To the government from way back when the time had come for that action to be taken. That was 10:30 on Friday night. Her Excellency the President signed and sealed the declaration on Monday, 30th December 2024 at approximately 2:30 a.m. That was the time that we received it from her office. So she would have signed it a little time before. I can tell you, to get that done at 2:30, it required me taking steps to awaken the president from her bed and awaken other officers, because putting a state of emergency in place is not just flicking a switch or saying that Prime Minister says you have a state of emergency. It is pretty much an operation, because it involves a number of things being done at that moment and in sequence. The Emergency Powers 2024 were published by the Gazette on Monday, the 30th December 2024 at approximately 9:28 p.m. We sent it to Her Excellency the President at 1:37 p.m. that day, after the Cabinet had approved the same, and thereafter it was the public servants at the Office of the President, the CPC, which is the Chief Parliamentary Council, and the government printery, who went through their processes, writing them until publication at 9:28 p.m. The process was started, and it continued in the normal scheme of things. The acting Chief Justice, and it had to be the acting Chief Justice because the substantive Chief Justice was out of the country, the same way the Attorney General is out of the country. It was Christmas time, so that is not anything unusual or untoward. But when these officers, like myself, out of the country, somebody acts, that person has virtual full powers to continue. So the acting Chief Justice appointed the members of the tribunal on Wednesday, the 1st of January 2025. Of course, from the ill-informed, you will see in today's papers somebody saying that as part of the mess that the government has made, that no tribunal has been put in place and no regulations. But I will ask you citizens to disregard those kinds of comments coming from ill-informed or malicious sources. The government of Trinidad and Tobago is a serious operation, and we take your business seriously. So the tribunal has been in place since January 1st, and the appointment of the tribunal was gazetted on January 2nd, 2025. So between the decision made 10:30 on the night of the 29th to the 2nd of January, all these operations have put in place a state of emergency in Trinidad and Tobago. Now, in putting this in place and doing the regulations to effect it, a state of emergency is like you target certain things. What are you responding to? In 1990 or 1970, it was responding to marches and mobilization and that sort of thing. So the state of emergency specifically dealt with those aspects of things. In COVID, we were responding to a medical emergency, health care. We've targeted our emergency to treat with that. And, you know, it's like the same thing here now. It's targeted to treat with the focus on the behavior of people who are engaging in gang warfare and the threat to the public, killing the public and killing members of the gangs. That's what that wounding and killing. That's what it was. And that's why in this state of emergency, as we thought it through, and also wanting to preserve the health of the economy, as we have done all along, by not going down that road, because we were always concerned about the negative side of the state of emergency. When on this occasion we decided we have to use it, we sought also then to protect both the public interests by not putting the public under any curfew, because we do not believe that a curfew adds much more. Because the real authority we want is to give the police the authority to act, and to act swiftly without the warranting process, and to do certain things which otherwise they could not have done, right, in the time frame within which they want to do it. And of course, we did not interfere with people's rights, to this law-abiding citizens' right to assemble and to conduct your normal business. That is how this state of emergency is different to others. So, of course, on matters of this nature, in a population of 1.4 million people, you might get a million different points of view as to what is correct. But none of us have any crystal ball that says if you look in the crystal ball, you see exactly the equation that 2 and 2 equals 4. But we anticipate by reasonable action that we'll get a reasonable result. And we understand that there would be disappointments in some quarter, or disagreements in some quarter. And of course, you know, the I told you so is also available, and then, you know, it should have been done before. But we use other options. And one of the things I did along the way as we moved to this point was to strengthen the ability of the ministerial side of working with the police. And we added a minister to the Ministry of National Security. We took a number of steps intra that ministry, and we sought help externally where help was required, and we have been using every other option to try to avoid interfering with your rights in an emergency or threatening the economy. One of the points I want to make today is this. A state of emergency, especially one with a curfew, has an extraordinary effect on small and medium-sized businesses in particular. Big businesses invariably work from 8 to 4. During the period 8 to 4, broad daylight, they can conduct their business, whatever it is, or most of it, and not be affected. Even their employees can get home after 4 o'clock by a curfew. A lot of medium and small business, especially small business, exist in that twilight zone from 4 to 11. So a curfew literally shuts them down, and the government has been mindful of that all along. Entertainment. If you have a curfew, you kill off that part of the economy, especially at this time where our oil and gas revenues are not what they are hoped to be in some instances. We are on the lower side of the scale of that. We are relying very heavily on the performance of the non-oil sector. So the government has been reluctant to let the behavior of a small handful of people damage the wider livelihood. So at the end of the day, it is a choice you have to make, because government decisions are always about priorities, because there are always options. Always options. So as we do that, we now end up where we are today. I just want to point out to the population, this disease of criminal conduct is not one that we all spread, but we all can be infected by it. 1.3 million people. If 10% of the population is involved in criminal conduct, that's 130,000 people. If 1% is involved, that's 10,300 people. And if 0.1% is involved, it's a fraction of the population, but it's a couple thousand people. But you could imagine 2,000 criminals running around the country with guns trying to kill everybody. That is what creates the problem for this country. Proportionately, a small number of people doing the most antisocial of human actions, killing other human beings, or taking action against other human beings, which could result in killing, and they don't care. That's what we're dealing with. Some people would see that as the fault of Mr. X or Miss Y, but it would be a tragedy indeed if we as a population confine ourselves to seeing this national problem as the problem of a person, or of an office, or of an officer, because the criminals love that. No, they would love that. But just think of what I just told you. A few thousand people, a few thousand people who have managed to arm themselves. And it doesn't require an equal number of guns, because the criminals create their own business. And as fast as the law or the government or the police try to stop it, they find another avenue. One gun, one firearm, a handgun or an assault weapon, being rotated in a crowd, rented out in some instances, protected by a family and handing out to the killers. One gun could be as effective as 100 guns in the hands of 100 people, because it's rotating in the population. That is going on. And of course, I am not here today to go into the details of our criminal experience, because we all live it and the exposure that we have to criminal conduct. But I just want you to understand that when you talk about a state of emergency, it is targeting that 0.5% or less than 0.5% of the population who have chosen to go down that road for benefit, for profit, or for revenge. What we were dealing with on Friday night is information that retaliatory actions of the type that we've seen at Prisgalan is what is more than likely to occur in the days to flow. The government has acted and has acted decisively. And the matter is now in the hands of the police officers and all the security agencies that are on the state's payroll. We don't look to the teachers, the doctors, the nurses, or the priests to do that. That is the job. And I want to also point out that as they do this job, they put their lives on the line. And for the uncaring ones who don't have a caring word to say about them, I want you for the moment, just think about them, their families, and their children when they go out there to confront these killers. Just think about them as they do that, as you make your statements, some of which are quite ridiculous. They put their lives on the line, standing in the breach between you and those who have decided by their own intellect, by their own selfishness, to disregard the law. And of course, we're not surprised that there are those who will seek to create loopholes for them in the law, because we saw it during COVID. We went to court 65 times to protect the doctors and nurses, because they were being sued left, right, and center, and the government had to go all the way to the Privy Council. They took a Privy Council ruling that the government was right to act in a particular way, because we had people in our society who believed that everything the government does is wrong or everything the government does is stupid, but that's par for the course. I will stop at this point so that you may ask a few questions on this subject of the state of emergency. Members of the media, you're free to ask a few questions. I'll allow up to about 2 questions per person, so that will have a lot of questions here in Tobago. And I know who's going to ask the first one.
Good afternoon, Mr. Prime Minister. Elizabeth Williams, TV6, I-95.5, and the Express newspaper.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. In terms of the SOE, I know you spoke at length. What is your view with respect to the legal challenge at this time? Because there is a legal challenge.
We don't have a problem. Our society is still a society under law. And if any citizen believes that his or her rights are being infringed, then they are free to do so. And the government has a duty to get appropriate, top quality legal support in the courts to defend the public interest. And that will be done at every instance.
Mr. Prime Minister, in light of the recent, on the 31st of December, the assassination of the attorney, Mr. Hector, some persons are saying, or in the opposition, and some citizens are saying, why the SOE? Because even though we are under a state of emergency, that assassination took place, where was the information and the protection of prosecutors and persons of that caliber?
Well, I think if you think about it, it is possible, even as I'm speaking here now, or as you're sitting there next to me, it's possible that there could be somebody somewhere planning to execute an action against you to harm you. That's possible. It would be quite far-fetched to tell you that anybody who's thinking about doing any such thing would automatically be known to the police. Understood? So when you make that statement that the police should have known, that is not a statement that can stand real good scrutiny. On the instance, I have no information that the police did know and did not act. And to say that the police should have known is just carrying it a little far. We expect that if that is happening and we get information to that effect, that you treat it as information upon which you might want to act or should act. But let me get to the point. What it does, as you raise the question in the context of it being said that how could that happen in a state of emergency, that is the point I have just made. That the criminal element that is hell-bent on executing those kinds of lawless actions do not pay any attention to the state of the law or what the law says. Because if the law has been modified and is said to be specifically aimed at these criminal actions, and you then carry out an action like that, it should tell the population about what the criminals are prepared to do. And just having the law does not in itself suppress that thought and that action. That's what it is. That is the proof. So what is being said is, unless you are able to go further and on the basis of information or even suspicion, you are able to stop that person or remove the offending weapon, then the action of the criminal will proceed to that outcome. This is a very serious development in Trinidad and Tobago, but it is not something that has not happened before. I want to point out to you, former Attorney General Selwyn Richardson was assassinated in this country, and up to this day, government come, government go, nobody knows who did it or what the motive was, but it was done. We also have been told and have experienced many instances of witnesses being harmed or killed This is the criminal element saying, I am not prepared to subject myself to being restrained in the prison, where prison sentence is meant to be the response after you are convicted, or I'm not prepared to have any lawyer stand up in the court and put up any case against me. And of course, knowing that if you remove one lawyer, there are other lawyers who could stand in there, that's not what you have. I am prepared to put fear into the hearts of those who may replace the one that I have removed. And therefore, this is fair as a protection for the criminal. The question now, is the society sufficiently strong together and resolute to prevent that fear from handing victory to the criminals who think that way? I want to say to all the officers of state today, as Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the government of Trinidad and Tobago will provide all the reasonable support to all the officers of state to ensure that the rule of law prevails in Trinidad and Tobago. That is a commitment of the government of Trinidad and Tobago. And I want to say to the officers who are so threatened, wherever you are, take comfort in the fact that we've done this before successfully. When we had an outbreak of COVID, in the very early days of COVID, when the world didn't know anything more than there was a virus that would kill you once it takes a hold of you, our health officers, doctors and nurses, stayed on the wards, close to patients, saw people dying, not understanding the details of the infection, but they stayed the course for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I hold that out to every officer as representing the resilience of the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. With respect to the SOE, some persons are worried in terms of officers being now able to enter homes without warrants, that there are criminals who also have uniforms of police officers or impersonating police officers that are able to also enter their homes. Your view on this?
Well, my view is that the leadership of the police service should do and must do and continue to do everything possible to minimize and remove those possibilities. Again, if I may make another example to you, very many of us may have a situation where you have to take a medication, and you do so sometimes weighing the risks, because many medications have side effects. You don't say, I will not take it in every instance because it has a side effect. You weigh the risk. And if the side effect is so great, you may not want to use it. On the other hand, if your ailment is so great, even though you know the side effects, you would take it and take the chance. That's the same kind of risk. Because if we say that we will not give the police officers, the vast majority of whom are decent law-abiding officers, if we're not going to give them that extra leg up over the criminals because a few of their colleagues might misbehave and might hurt one or two citizens, if that's what we're going to say, I think we would have been giving the criminals the benefit. Today I want to appeal to the decent, law-abiding police officers of all ranks to not tolerate within the ranks of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service officers who are unfit for the job that they hold. The same way you say to the public, if you see something, say something. I would say to the officers themselves today, if you know something, say something, because those handful of officers to whom the reference is made, they are just as unwanted in this society as the criminal with the gun, because the effect of such an officer destroying the trust of the population in the police service, prevents the public from cooperating in sharing vital information with the police. Because we have 8,000 police officers. It is mathematically and logistically impossible for 8,000 officers to close mark 1.3 million people to be there at the time when a criminal challenges you. So to say the police should have done the police, they're not magicians. They work hard, as they should. They would need help in the form of information and cooperation. And if rogue officers destroy that trust as they have been doing, then it makes the work of the police officers harder, and it even puts their lives at risk. So do not tolerate rogue officers in the ranks. You know how to get information to the authorities, and you know the same way you're asking people to say something and do it with security of handing over the information. You should be able to do that within the police service about your colleagues, and help us to clean up the police service so that in situations like these, the public wouldn't have that overriding concern that giving police this power. And not only the police, this state of emergency has added a large number of other state personnel to that fight. The Defense Force personnel are now to act with the powers of police officers. Whereas before, they would go on a patrol and they would have one police officer with the patrol to ensure that the law is covered, but the soldiers were not police officers. The state of emergency gives that power for intervention because we deem it necessary at this time. It is temporary. That's not one of the arguments from some people, that it is not going to be the end, the be-all and end-all of the fight against crime. But nobody's saying that. Nobody is saying that this is going to be the end of any action we take. A whole series of other actions will continue well beyond the life of any state of emergency.
I was going to ask that question, Mr. Prime Minister, in terms of long-term, knowing that the SOE is temporary, in terms of long-term strategy going forward. And also, if you could care to also answer with respect to travel advisories against this country, one from the U.S. Embassy, etc. Are you worried about these travel advisories?
We've had travel advisories all the time from the United States and from other places. Again, we can't tell countries how to communicate with their population. Those advisories are aimed at their population in our community. One could say that if we were in the business of issuing travel advisories based on what Al Jazeera says or what we would tell people not to go to Louisiana. I mean, look at what happened there. I mean, and that is only one of many that happens virtually on a daily basis. The violent crime is a constant across our populations. And we don't really spend time, you know, if we find an advisory make reference to something which is inaccurate, in being specific, we talk, and there are channels through which we talk these matters. But other than that, we shouldn't be distracted by that. We understand what it means. It means that people are being told that, you know, things are happening, so be alert. And within our own population, we do the same thing, you know. There are things that if you are really concerned about your personal safety or the family safety, given the behavior of some of our population, you would know what to do and not to do. Huh? In terms of trying to give yourself a chance to not be a victim of the criminal element, because a lot of it is opportunistic. So if you give them the opportunity, they will do certain things that may not happen if the opportunity doesn't present itself. So let's not be distracted by that. You know, so there was well, that is why the state of emergency, by its very nature in the law, has a short term. You have to go to the Parliament on Monday. It's required by law, having had a proclamation of this nature at the behest of the government through the office of the President. We have 15 days within which to go to the Parliament, because as I said, we still maintain that we are going to be a country under law. So even as we remove certain rights, it is not done willy-nilly. The law is written that we must now go to the parliament, be examined there. It must be put before the public as to why, what has happened, and of course, we have to convince the parliament, because if the parliament is not convinced, then it ends. And then if the parliament gives an extension, I think it goes to an extended period, and after 3 months, if you want a further extension, you have to come back to the parliament. And then it doesn't go beyond 6 months in total. So, fear not. We are not changing the foundation of our jurisprudence or permanently removing the fundamental rights and freedoms of our citizens. Desperate circumstances have caused us to take this action. And it's an action that is provided for under law in no other place but the Constitution. Those handful of people who have chosen that way of life and is taking that kind of action within our population, they have brought that upon this nation, and the government will not hesitate upon decision that this is a good time to do it, that we do it knowing that it's not something that's going to last forever. And having said that, we expect that our security officers will make full use of this period to extract as much as they can from the criminal element. That's the purpose.
Afternoon, Prime Minister. Natalie Singh, Channel 5. You mentioned the tribunal. I was just wondering if you can elaborate on it and how it works and who is appointed and when it goes into effect and things like that.
Okay. Well, the tribunal has been appointed. It's like a court. And I don't want to play lawyer. I will stay away from that. The Attorney General will talk about that a little later on. But how it is, the law requires that 3 persons appointed by the Chief Justice. And those 3 persons, I think, are people of high legal competence, judges at that level of person, and they will hear, a provision is made in the law for person or persons who have been detained under the powers of this act to complain. If they have a complaint about what is happening to them, they make that complaint to this tribunal, and the tribunal acts as a court and rules on the complaint as to whether they are in fact being disadvantaged under the law.
So then how does a person differentiate between, has my rights been interfered with if I had the police break down my door and the defense force behind them? How do I differentiate that in a state of emergency?
Well, I don't know that again, I don't want to play lawyer. You're talking about the person whose door has been broken down. I'm not sure if that qualifies to go before the tribunal, but what I do know is that a person who has lost his or her right, freedom, like a detainee, that person can go to the tribunal. Other than that, the rest of the country's laws remain in force. The state of emergency does not vitiate any of our other laws. It creates powers which the security services otherwise would not have had by removing certain requirements for them to do certain things.
How many are usually on a tribunal of this nature?
3 persons.
Right, so...
One, a chairman and 2 others.
Have you selected, or do you have names?
Not me.
Oh.
That is done by the Chief Justice.
Yeah, okay.
The same way the proclamation is done by the President, the protection for the detainees, done by the Chief Justice. He will appoint in his or her own power and own right 3 people, a 3-person panel, to look at what is happening with respect to persons whose rights have been abridged.
How does putting the country in a state of emergency, how does that impact on our reputation to the international community and the regional community? Have they expressed concern? Are the leaders expressed concern as what is going on in Trinidad?
Well, it is not something that is unknown to the world. As a matter of fact, in one Caribbean country, they have, in the last couple of years, have declared a number of states of emergencies. So, and they've done it in a way trying to minimize the effect on the rest of the country, it has been that approach which has been offered to us here in Trinidad and Tobago has been struck down by the law of that country, and it is being appealed. So while the government has tried to do it, it is under appeal in the country there. And I can tell you for sure, other CARICOM leaders are not surprised, because they too are facing the same kinds of onslaught from their own criminal element. We would have preferred not to do that. As I said earlier on, no government likes to have to do that, because people wake up in the morning and they heard that Trinidad and Tobago is under a state of emergency. They might have a view as to what that means in the country. And I mean, if you were planning to go, we talk about our tourism here in Tobago. If you were abroad and planning and you threw darts at the board and you say, okay, we're going to go to Tobago, and you hear that Tobago is under a state of emergency, that alone, just that piece of news, you don't really want to know the details of it, and and to say, well, all right, I'm satisfied that it's a good place I could still go to. Just the fact that it has a state of emergency, you might just switch to another place that doesn't have one. It might even be more dangerous than Tobago, but you switch to another place. So we would have wanted to avoid that. But fortunately, that literally dies down after a few days when it becomes clearer to the international community what is meant by a state of emergency. Because state of emergency could come in for all kinds of reasons. It could be a change of government, an overthrow of government, it could be, all kinds of things. So you want to know a little bit more. And I think as the information comes out, people will get to see that it is something that doesn't really stop our day-to-day operations, but is focusing on the criminal element that poses a threat not only to local people, but to tourists who come amongst us. So we are in fact improving our situation.
Did the country take too long to implement a state of emergency?
It all depends on who you talk to.
Good afternoon, Prime Minister Candace Jackson, Tobago Updates. My first question is in regard to a concern from some officers throughout that there's been a shortage of equipment. Some of them, they are concerned about shortage of PPEs and so on as they go into some of these dangerous situations. Is there any more provision being made so that officers are well equipped to handle these dangerous situations?
Well, as we delayed getting to the point of a state of emergency, I said earlier on, we have done a number of things, one of which is to ensure that our agencies, police in particular, are properly resourced, and you would have seen that in the budgeting process and in the acquisition process, and you would have seen what we have been doing all along. I mean, there's always room for improvement. You need more money, you need more this, you need more that, but that's an ongoing operation. What has to be done now is not belly aching about this, that, and the other. It is getting on with the job with what we have. That's what I expect to happen now.
Okay, and there's also a concern that this SOE is being used as perhaps an excuse for some to exercise abuse of power, or to be able to act in ways to attack, I don't know, perhaps political opponents and so on. What do you have to say to this concern?
I don't know that the police have any political opponent. This law, this act, this power is a power given to the police. It gives no superior authority to anybody in the cabinet or in the political party or so. So that argument has no real basis in a society like Trinidad and Tobago, where we have operations of political entities that do not control the police, nor do they control the political process outside of what is there under the law. So that is just, I've heard even members of parliament talking that foolishness. But that is just trying to, they have an opportunity to say something, they have nothing useful to say, so they talk that.
And also earlier when he was speaking, you were addressing the concern of the Coast Guard officers, and you said that we are closer, or that there's been significant strides being made, because there continues to be a concern that our borders are being left porous.
again, that is now a cliche, right? That is a cliche. We have occupancy of a number of islands, 2 main islands, Trinidad and Tobago, and every spot around our coastline is a potential entry point for persons wanting to get into our country. So from that standpoint, you could say it's porous. In response to that, we maintain at significant cost and effort covering that perimeter around us in the open ocean, in the close inshore waters, at our ports and so on. And to do that, we have a number of marine assets, where, as you know, once you're in the sea, maintenance is a huge problem for things that go in the sea or even close to the sea. We've had significant issues with that, and all of them require ongoing maintenance, an area which we have not distinguished ourselves. But we have in recent times made a lot of effort in ensuring that we do better in maintaining these craft, and I can tell you today we do have, our main crafts in rotation. We have significant repairs taking place in Suriname, vessels coming from Suriname which has been repaired, vessels going to Suriname for repairs. The intention is to make as high a percentage as possible of availability of those craft that we have already purchased. That is going on full pace, and alongside everything else that we're doing, not the least of which is gathering information, which is commonly called intelligence, on who's doing what with respect to criminal planning and criminal execution.
Would you be able to elaborate on how many vessels do we have up and running at this point?
I will not, because that is assisting persons who would look for loopholes in our security.
Pleasant afternoon. Kavita Douglas, TTT Limited. I'm just zeroing in on the topic of tourism and the impact. Of course, Tobago thrives on tourism, and you touched on it. Of course, when people hear SOA, they think curfew, they think things are going to cut off at a certain time, but that's not the case this time around. However, some tourists may still be concerned because, the actions are targeted to specific persons. However, in these areas, maybe where they're staying, these specific persons may be within these areas. What words of assurance or reassurance you would give that we focused on these persons and we're going to consider the fact that you will not be affected while we carry out these actions?
Well, we don't know the full range of actions that criminals are thinking about. So let us not pretend that we have that kind of information. You're driving on the road, there could be a criminal looking at your vehicle, you're going into the mall, you go to a restaurant, you're in your hotel room. As a matter of fact, once you are there, they look for opportunities to distress you. That's a fact. And that is common not only to Trinidad and Tobago, but common to all of us everywhere. You go abroad, you lock your hotel room. Doesn't matter how safe your city is, right? And of course, you are asked not to wear and display chains and jewelry and so on. That is so that you don't create opportunities. Same thing here. But what we'll say, in answer to your question, is that the government of Trinidad and Tobago, in Trinidad and in Tobago, those officers whose job it is on the state's payroll to protect you, they are on the job and they're going 100% to ensure that you are given the protection that you require as you live in these environments, either as a local or as a visitor. We are under law, and we use the law to protect the public, and we also keep an eye on the criminal element, because we can't say we don't have them in our country. We have them in our country, and we try to suppress their behavior.
Good afternoon, Dr. Rowley. Elizabeth Gonzalez from Guardian Media. There's the belief that the government probably would have dragged its foot in declaring this SOE, and had the government probably declared the SOE earlier, hundreds of lives would have been saved. What is your response to that? Because we would have known who the repeated offenders are. We would have known about the illegal firearms and the drug blocks and all of that. So people are asking, why so late?
Well, that is a point of view that some people will have. It is not the government's point of view. Here it is. You were saying that the government dragged its feet. I tried to explain to you early on that the option was always available. But the effect of the option, right, was something that the government was concerned about, so we did not choose it as a first option. There were other things that we did. the escalation and the threat at the time when it was used demanded that we no longer be that cautious. So there was no dragging of any feet. It's a decision-making exercise. And there were, the same way you were telling me here about dragging feet, there were people with louder voices than you earlier on saying, we do not want a state of emergency because it will cause so and so and so. Right? But of course, such persons can change their position very frequently. It is only the government that is held to a position on these matters. Understand? Because the government, you have one government in the country. You have one officer prime minister, you have one prime minister. That is where the decisions can be made. Because you will have some people saying yes to it and some saying no to it. You will have some saying no, it is timely and warranted, and you'll have some saying that it should have been done a long time ago. And of course, if, as one lady said a while ago, it is only for a short time. If it was there a long time ago, that short time would have come and gone a long time, you know. And we may very well be having the second state of emergency. These are possibilities. Because once you have it, there's no guarantee that at the end of it, criminal intent in the minds of people in Trinidad and Tobago will disappear, you know. We have to make sure that the state is in a position to discharge that responsibility to the population, which is to provide it with safety and security, even as criminal elements within the society keep changing, looking for opportunities, changing their modus, arming themselves differently. As we are concerned now, at one point in time, criminals were armed with knives and cutlass. Then they were armed with pistols, revolvers that shot 6. Then they were armed with handguns that could carry 15 shots. Now they're arming themselves with, and if you give them half a chance, they'll arm themselves with a bazooka. That's what they will do. And the state has to be in a position to respond, but to respond proportionately as we go forward.
We are on day 5 of since the declaration was made. What are you being told with regards to the success of the SOE thus far? And are you satisfied?
I'm satisfied with the effort that is being made. I receive continuous reports from the various sectors of what's involved, but it's too early to make a declaration as to what is happening. The fact that it's happening, I'm optimistic that the security officers will do better under this situation, because if that is not so, then what we're being told, or we're being told by the police that we need this, we need that, we need the other, then it has now been proven not to be correct. But I don't expect that will be so.
There are calls for the Commissioner of Police, well, once again, to be fired. I know in the past you have defended her, and considering the murder toll in 2024, do you still stand by that point, not only to defend the Commissioner, but also to defend the National Security Minister?
Let me point out something to you and all those who have that point of view. I, as Prime Minister of this country, might be the only person in this country who does not have the option to not support the Commissioner of Police. Doesn't matter who he or she is. Doesn't matter what other issues might be going down. I am required to support the Commissioner of Police, who is in office. And let me ask you another question. Suppose you see me trying to fire the Commissioner of Police. How many pages you want in the Guardian to print how interfering the Prime Minister is? Tell me. The same person who is training you up there to say, fire the Commissioner of Police and the Prime Minister should do that. That same page, that same person is saying, don't talk to the Commissioner of Police because you're interfering, and we have what separation of powers and all kind of nonsense. And they'll compare here with El Salvador, where the president in El Salvador decided to lock up everybody with a tattoo, or anybody who said they know somebody with a tattoo. We can't do that in Trinidad and Tobago. What we have agreed to be governed by is a suite of laws that doesn't allow that. We don't have an executive president who has that range of power to do something like that. In New York, the mayor can fire the Commissioner of Police summarily in his office. And by the same token, the Commissioner of Police can call a lieutenant in and take his badge, you're dismissed. That cannot happen in Trinidad and Tobago under our laws. And even when we talk about changing the law, we're not talking about changing it to that. So what we have agreed to do is to exist within a suite of laws that does give the criminals a fair and too much of a fair chance to succeed. And you see what happens when you try to change the law? As the criminals started to coalesce into gangs, we go to the parliament. You saw the rigmarole in this country to get an anti-gang act passed. And even after it was passed in the parliament, where all the parliamentarians agree how the law should be shaped, it goes to the court. And then the police can't act because the court is saying, we don't agree that this is how it should be. And it was tweaked. There's the Justice Bureau tweaking, and you would have heard the commissioner make reference to the police thinking that even as we have the law, it's not as straightforward as that. So these are constraints of the democratic society of Trinidad and Tobago. And many people who make comments outside of those considerations. So the Commissioner of Police is not open to be fired by the Prime Minister. So even though you don't like the Commissioner, don't look to the Prime Minister to fire. And I'll tell you something else too. In 1962, this problem was created. It was called Government by Service Commission. There's a service commission that stands between the cabinet, the government, and the Commissioner of Police. And therefore, for the Commissioner of Police to have been hired, Prime Minister couldn't hire the best person or the best woman or the best man for the job, We had to be guided by what the Service Commission put before the Parliament. And of course, you could say we chose the wrong person. But that's the work of the Commission.
You've got bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
Oh God, call on the Lord. Call on Him. Pour on us, O God. Oh God. As we pray.
You are invited to join Pastor Morris Johnson of the Church of the Firstborn Assembly Miracle Center, located at 399 Eastern Main Road, Guayco in Sangre Grande, for the Old Time Gospel Hour all-night prayer every Friday evening, 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. Designed with you in mind, this ministry deals with today's issues from a biblical perspective. You will be given the opportunity to call in and interact with us. Micah 6:8 says, He hath showed thee, O man, what is good and what doth the Lord require of thee, but to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy God. Your free will gifts and offerings will be greatly appreciated and can be sent through the First Citizens Bank, account 795-222, in the name of the Church of the Firstborn Assembly. For more information, please call 753-1113. May God richly bless you.
Are you searching for the perfect venue for your wedding reception, company retreat, graduation celebration, or just an unforgettable party? Well, look no further. Vibes Event Space is ready to bring your event to life. Located at number 15 Mount Pleasant Boulevard, Bonacore, Tobago. Our space offers the perfect settings for any occasion. Call us today at 394-3612 or 620-3057 to book your date. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Vibes Event Space to see what we're all about. Make your next event one to remember at Vibes the Event Space. The Event Space.
My parents' generation grew up with Royal Castle. From the first restaurant in 1968, when that distinctive, tempting aroma hit the air, they just couldn't resist. And like never before, fried chicken with a special blend of local seasonings and a one-of-a-kind flavor down to the bone. Today, Royal Castle still have that same delicious taste, and I love it too. The kids can't resist it either. Plus, they have more to enjoy. For me, the castle is more than just nice food. It's we own, part of me and you, and is the real flavor of TNT.
The presence of oxygen is absolutely the absence of disease. Most chronic diseases that plague us are not happening to us, but is happening within us. We're literally eating ourselves to death, which means we're not living longer, we're dying longer. Join fitness expert Aloy Johnson, the founder of the healthiest corner on earth, located at number 92 East Drive, Chamfleur, every Wednesday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. live on The Street 919 FM, where he shows you that healing the body